right, so it's 80s time, folks, and this is another decade that is just loaded with horror classics, so this should be a fun decade to talk about as well. And we were just talking about this off air here, you guys, but there are certain movies, again, like we did with the 70s, that we're going to omit here, right? So I think we can all agree some of the big heavy hitters that we've either covered on the show or, like, you know, you've heard a lot about already, like Friday the 13th, right? Nightmare on Elm Street, The Shining, which, as much as I love The Shining, it's been talked about to death, for sure. I would even hesitate to talk about The Thing here, because it's one of my all-time favorites, and it's one that we, again, did another episode on. So we're going to try and do as many deep cuts
What about like, sequels to those, like the Friday the 13th movies?
So I would say those are up for grabs.
Okay, cool.
100%.
I might float one of those in there, depending on how this goes.
I think I know which one you might do it, and I think I like that movie a lot. So, in keeping order with the draft order that we already started, that means, so I finished off the 70s with Piranha, and it means it's still on to me here for the first pick of the 80s. So, what I am going to pick here, oh my god, this is going to be tough. I have a few here that I really want to pick. You know, I'm going to go, we haven't talked a lot about on our show in standalone episodes about David Cronenberg.
Nice.
Who is one of the, you know, he's synonymous with the body horror genre, specifically.
The fucking lord of body horror.
Oh my god, yeah. So there's actually a number of movies. There's 3 movies that immediately pop into my mind from the 80s that we could talk about here, and who knows, maybe they'll get picked later on down the line. But I'm going to pick my favorite Cronenberg movie, and that is The Fly. With Jeff Goldblum.
What a great start.
Yeah. So I love The Fly. I don't know if I've ever been so simultaneously engaged in a movie and so grossed out at the same time. It is just it's a disgusting movie to watch, but it
also has such a wonderful, like, love story behind it.
It really is. It's such a fucking demented movie. I mean, the chemistry between Goldblum and Gina Davis is great.
Wonderful, yeah.
Seth Brundle is the guy's name.
It's incredibly enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Until it's not.
Until it's not. Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those movies, like, yes, it devolves into a disgusting movie where a man turns into a humanoid fly. But it seems like it's kind of plausible, the technology. Like, okay, this guy, hopped into a teleportation pod and there was a fly and their DNA got swapped and now he's slowly turning into a fly.
Badly.
Yeah. Very, very badly. But I think it's the best performance from Jeff Goldblum in a career of great performances. I almost talked about Invasion of the Body Snatchers for the 70s. I wanted to talk about that one a little bit. Didn't end up picking it. Great movie. Mm-hmm. But The Fly is fantastic. He's fantastic in it. The practical effects hold up like gangbusters if you watch this movie again, and it is not the type of movie that you want to watch on a full stomach at all. It's so gross, and you know, a lot of Cronenberg's movies with the body horror elements are symbols for other things, and there's been a lot of people that have said that this is kind of symbolism for, like, the AIDS epidemic that kind of came about in the 80s, and you can kind of see this guy, his body breaking down and just devolving into this grotesque monster, which, you know,
I think he publicly denied that, didn't he?
He might have. Yeah. He might have. There's been a lot of speculation about what it actually is about. And that could be a number of things, but I just think The Fly is a great movie, and it's a movie that I've watched a lot of times, despite it being so disgusting.
I watched it probably a couple months ago again.
Yeah, great movie.
That's one I haven't watched in forever.
It's a good one. It's a very good movie. On top of, like, that's the thing that's so crazy about it, like you said, it's like demented because it's so good, but you're subjected to such horrific, disgusting images.
And you're 100% right that it's a good love story too, because you want it to work out for them.
Yeah, because you feel bad, like.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? You feel bad for her because she's like, what the fuck? Like, you didn't have to do this.
They clearly love each other, and he's just so, compelled with his work. Dude, and look at Goldblum in this movie, too. Like, his hair, he's in good shape. Like, it's
handsome as shit. Yeah. Incredible shape, dude. He's like doing sit-ups off the fucking, like with his legs over the bar. Yeah, he's...
Absolute stuff.
Looking good.
There will be some flies.
John, well, when the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down at Disneyland, the pirates don't eat the tourists.
I want to know how much of his dialogue was improvised.
Probably so.
Because I bet a lot of it was, because the way he talks,
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way this was scripted like that.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Now, eventually, you might have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right? Hello? Yes? This thing on? All right, enough Jeff Goldblum talk. Matt, we're on to you.
All right, my first pick for the 80s, I'm going to go with 1981, John Landis' An American Werewolf.
Oh, nice pick. Okay.
I love this movie so much, dude. It's so much fun.
Yep.
It's so funny. And a lot of people don't know John Landis did Animal House.
Yep.
And like the National Lampoon stuff.
Yep.
And then he turns around and he does
Trading Places.
Trading Places. Yeah, he does. And then he turns around and does An American Werewolf in London. Just, it's funny, but it's fucking violent, dude. It's a fucking harsh movie. And I think a lot of people went into it kind of expecting, from what I heard when it came out, they were like, oh, this is going to be fun. And it just totally is not. Like, it's a real bleak ending. If you haven't seen it, but go watch it. It's a fucking awesome movie. It's a lot of fun. It's in its own ballpark, in my opinion. This stands alone as its own horror movie. I honestly say it's the best werewolf movie of all time. It has everything it needs. It has the old English style folklore. It has the full moon. It even spoofs the whole idea of it, and it's so good. If you haven't seen it,
Great soundtrack too.
Great soundtrack. Not one song in the soundtrack doesn't mention a full moon.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, best transformation.
Yeah, I would say easily. If it's not the best werewolf movie, which I think it's at least in the conversation for it, it's got probably the best transformation.
And I believe that was Sir Rick Baker. And man, that's. Even now, I watch it and I'm like, ow. It just looks so fucking painful.
Yeah, it looks so painful, just like with his hands extending and like, ugh, like you can hear like his bones cracking and breaking. But I mean, this is in the conversation for the best horror comedy of all time. I mean, this.
Well, the conversations between him and his dead buddy are like when he's like.
Oh, they're great.
I love that. His buddy coming back like more and more decayed.
Yeah, every single time. Yeah, it's awesome.
And like when they're all in the movie theater and they're all like calling him a piece of shit. Like they're basically like you need to kill yourself. It's just like wow, like what a dark like idea to go into it. So I just thought it was original and well done, and it was funny. There's so many sequences that are just so fucking out of control.
I was gonna say like the dream sequence stuff is insane with the like, Nazi werewolves and like the demons, whatever they are. Like it's just you could tell Landis had a lot of ideas that he was just kind of throwing together in there, thinking like I can't believe they're making this movie. I'm gonna put everything I can into it and just see what happens.
Well, it's funny because this is 1981. This is really like the start of like what became the 80s horror fucking what do you call it? Renaissance, dude.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah.
It would be like if after Todd Phillips directed The Hangover, he went and did like, an insane body horror fucking comedy.
Yeah, he made like Slither.
Yeah, like, something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Which is like still even like James Gunn.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
which I'm sure will come up in probably our 2000s discussion.
Oh yeah, that's definitely gonna be floating around.
Yep.
No pun intended.
Nice pick with American Werewolf in London. We're off to a sterling start.
Sterling silver.
Sterling start. Shotgun start. All right, Andrew, we're to you for two, my friend.
So I'm going to go with 1987 Hellraiser. Because I love Pinhead and I love Clive Barker, and he wrote and directed this movie.
Yep.
And the Xenobites are amazing. I love just the grotesque, like, in the attic when he's just growing in like being
heart
it's just so
growing
gross.
in like this splooge on
like,
the floor.
It's just mucus membrane.
Yeah.
What did you call it on the episode when we did on Hellraiser? Just he's growing in like schmegma on the floor.
Yeah, schmegma basically. It's like it's just got everything. Disgusting. It's got the practical effects. It's got the little S&M.
Yeah.
It's got the
kinky
Xenobites.
movie.
I love the Xenobites.
Kinky movie for sure.
I love the dad getting the hooks through the face and just him being like licking his lips. He's like, Jesus wept. It's like, wow, dude, that's just hell.
There's there's some great like quotable parts.
Serious
of that
one-liners in there,
That's one of. I love Clive Barker.
We have such sights to show you.
I want you to know that I purposely left that off my list because I knew you were gonna fucking
get
all over it. Yeah.
I even think the stuff that they do.
I better pick it now if I passed.
Like when what's the daughter's name when she goes like essentially into their world. There's like that weird
Christy or it's something with a Y at the end.
That weird huge monster that chases her around.
The worm thing. I get so I have like this Mandela effect with the first and the second one.
Well, because they start off the second one like the end of the first one.
Yeah, but still, like, I can't remember, like, what parts are from which one, because I always watch them back to back.
Yeah.
Because I think they play together.
They blend together
so fucking
perfectly.
good. Yeah. And that's really the only ones I've watched. I watched the third one once. And
after that, it's like...
Yeah, there's a lot of other sequels I haven't watched, which I should, but...
It's like the Candyman movies, like, after the first one.
I've only seen, I haven't even seen the new Candyman.
That I thought that was really good.
I heard it was sick.
Yeah,
I got to get on that.
Yeah.
You got to check that out.
Very much like the original one, a lot of social commentary.
I think we can tell that's going to be picked in the 90s.
Oh,
no, for sure, by you, I'm sure.
If I have the first pick. Taking it?
And so
I don't even know if we're going to have Imitables in the 90s. Maybe the 1000s.
Because there's not that many, like
the only ones we would admit would be the ones that, like, Kat would pick.
Yeah, probably. So we have to leave those in. We have to leave those in. Also, we're getting a new Hellraiser movie in 2022. I know we talked about that before.
Good.
Directed by David Bruckner, who did The Ritual. He just did.
Oh wow! Okay.
What else did he do? He's done the VHS movies. He's done a bunch of stuff. He's good. So
me and Sarah watched VHS recently. She hadn't seen it before.
The new one or
the
original one?
The original one.
Have you seen VHS 94?
I've only seen the first one, and I rewatched it, and she hated it so much that we couldn't keep going. Yeah.
See, I love that movie.
See, normally I would be against a remake of Hellraiser, but...
She didn't like the first bit with, like, the dudes with the chicks. She's like, this is fucking awful. Like,
it is, but she gets her comeuppance in the end, for sure.
Yeah, but even then she was like, this is even worse.
That's true. It's true. It's definitely fucked up, but I like it.
They are good.
All right, so I could have. I knew if I were a betting man, I would have known that you would have ended up coming out of the draft with Hellraiser.
I was hoping it would fall to me,
not
fall to me, because obviously those other ones were well worth.
Yeah, that was definitely one that I was like,
it's gonna go in the top 3. I felt like, but
all right, so that means that you are picking your second movie, Andrew.
Yes, so I'm going to go with, I think it's 1983, another Cronenberg. Different, in not body horror. The Dead Zone.
Oh, nice.
That's probably my favorite Stephen King adaptation.
Stephen King, yes.
You got Christopher Walken, who's amazing. And Martin Sheen. Martin Sheen as the president. It's just... I mean, what's not to like about that movie?
It's an incredible story.
It's such a great story. Like,
very sad book.
It's a very sad story.
Yeah.
That this is what becomes, but he uses that for good, basically. I mean, he takes this horrible situation where he gets in this terrible car accident, ends up in a coma for, 5 years?
Yeah.
His love of his life is married with a kid. Still gets to bang her, so, I mean, I guess that's... finally, I mean, she's like, you never got to do this, but I love that movie so much. It's so good. It's just such a... Like, was that made for TV? It wasn't.
No.
It has, like, the feelings of, like, a made-for-TV movie almost.
It's an 80s
because it's the 80s, and it's a Stephen King movie, but...
All of his movies have a made-for-TV feel.
Yeah, but
that book is insanely good.
I'd have to read.
I thought it... I was, like, kind of went into it being like, all right, I got to breeze through this because it's not going to be scary. It's like not necessarily scary, but there's awful, horrific, like parts of the story, and the story itself is. I was like, wow, this is actually really fucking good.
Yeah.
So I was reading a James Patterson novel.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing better than like the scenes where whenever he grabs someone and he just sees what's happening. Yeah. It's just so good.
Two things I think about when I think about the Dead Zone. The Christopher Walken skit on SNL where he parodied the Dead Zone, where he like basically was grabbing people and seeing like useless things about their future. Have you
I never saw that one.
Yeah. It's so fucking funny, so good. And then also, hey, remember when they did a TV? Oh, well, not South Park. Oh, actually, yes, South Park too. But I was saying they did a TV series based in the Dead Zone with Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh yeah, dude.
I was going to bring Anthony Michael Hall. I actually waited on him
4 seasons
at the Cheesecake Factory before.
That's right. You've told me that.
I waited on him.
What did he order?
I cannot remember. That was like 12 years ago. He was kind of weird. He was kind of like, didn't want anyone to know it was him. And I'm like, I know this fucking person. It took me like 20 minutes. And I was like, are you?
I feel like he's not like the most like famous dude in the world.
No, but.
Like you can easily get away with being.
But this was like, I feel like, because when was the Dead Zone like a big show? Like mid-2000s.
What was it even on? What was it on Spike TV?
USA. It was on USA.
That was on USA, and that was right around that time when he was in there.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
He thought everyone knew that show,
cool.
but I was like, oh, that's cool. He wasn't a regular guy. He tipped 20%, so.
Yeah.
He's in the new Halloween.
That's right. Yeah,
is.
Tommy Wallace.
Yep.
So Stephen King's The Dead Zone is a science fiction drama television series starring Anthony Michael Hall as Johnny Smith. Let's see. First aired in 2002, and it ran for 3 seasons. 80 episodes.
Wow, that's a lot of episodes. 3 seasons?
Yeah, dude.
80 episodes.
Yeah, that's not even that much content in the book.
I know. They must have just expanded. I've never seen an episode
15
of
minutes long? Was it on Adult Swim?
What is this, Rick and Morty? No.
Yeah. Nice picks.
I like the picks.
Nice picks.
Nice.
So Hellraiser and The Dead Zone to kick off Andrew's 80s
And I'm glad because the only 2 I was worried about getting picked are gone, and now I can just get into the weird ones.
All right, there we go.
This is where I have to start really playing on my toes. I'm going to go with 1981 Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead.
Yeah. Had a feeling this was going to get picked as well.
Hard not to pick that one.
It's on my leg, man.
Yeah, you kind of have to pick it, otherwise.
I love The Evil Dead so much. I love its goofiness. I love Bruce Campbell. I love the story. I love how chaotic it is. I love that it's The Exorcist on fucking steroids. Even the first one, like, you can see the campiness behind the special. It's so fucking cheap. It's so, you know what I mean?
The stop motion animation.
The stop motion, dude. Like, you can see the girl, like, when he has his sister down under the basement. You can see her hand. She's wearing gloves. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the special effects aren't great, but it's just like the story itself. The sound effects are fucking over the top. Like, it's so loud the entire time. Once everything kicks off, it's just so much, and just Evil Dead fucking rocks, dude. I can't wait for the new one to come out this year.
I would say it's one of the few film series where the movies actually got better as they went on, I think. I mean, well, actually, the second one's probably the best one. But Army of Darkness is great.
Boost.
I had a huge discussion with a stranger on Twitter like 2 weeks ago, and I had said that Evil Dead sets the fucking tone. You know what I mean? It's the original, it has all the fucking things. Evil Dead 2 is fun, and it's really where the story kicks off. Army of Darkness is insane. That movie's out of control. The Evil Dead remake is phenomenal.
Awesome movie.
Easily one of the best remakes of all time.
It's got to be number 1.
And then we have Evil Dead Rise coming out later this year.
Yeah.
Which I just read a synopsis about, and it's looking pretty fucking tight.
It sounds good to me, and
it's a love note to a 80s horror movie, I think, because it's kind of got the same premise.
Nice.
So. Okay, I'm down. I am down. Have you ever seen any episodes of Ash vs. Evil Dead?
Yeah, I watch all of it.
Great show. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Dude,
Rocks.
I just love Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
And
I follow him on like all social media and stuff.
He's awesome.
So fucking funny, dude.
Just like, the name of his autobiography is called "If Chins Could Kill."
Like, because he is the original Crimson Chin.
Like, it's awesome. It's so great. Like, he's great. And I just think there's something to be said about the spirit of this movie. Like, the fact that Sam Raimi made this on such a low budget with, like, his friends. Like, Bruce Campbell was one of his friends.
We could do this.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, so don't
We just have to sacrifice literally everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like, so
it all up.
basically, read how Evil Dead was made, and then come back to me and tell me that you can't do something. Because it's crazy.
Was it me and you watching one of those shows that you watch all the time?
One of the nerdy horror documentary things
and
that
it
I watch.
was like they developed that camera angle by accident, out of necessity, where they put it on like 2 planks.
Yeah,
and just ran it through the woods. Ran it through the woods, and that's the best part of those. That's like the best.
So cool.
And
you couldn't have done it any better. Yeah, it's so good. Just
like that crazy sound the whole time.
I would say those shots of the camera rushing through the woods are like as iconic as the Steadicam stuff in The Shining. Yeah. Like as iconic as like some of those.
Nothing has done that.
Yeah, it's wild.
And they did it with 2 pieces of wood camera and ran through the woods.
Yep.
So that is my number 2.
Excellent pick. Phenomenal. I mean, I knew one of the Evil Dead movies was going to be picked here. All right. So I am going to roll here with a movie that I talked about when we talked about Joe Dante in the 70s, when I talked about Piranha, and I'm going to pick 1981's The Howling.
Nice.
Oh,
another werewolf movie here. I love
going
movies.
That we're about to go head to head on this now.
Yeah. So I think that that's a big debate, right? American Werewolf in London versus The Howling. They both came out in 81. The same year.
They came out like the same month.
That's crazy.
So Rick Baker did the effects in American Werewolf, and was it Savini who did The Howling, or was it somebody else?
Did both.
He might have.
I'm not 100% sure.
All right, we can look this up just to be certain. But I just while I love American Werewolf, it definitely there's comedy in it, so it breaks up the horror. And I think that The Howling is a truly scary werewolf movie. I think the werewolves, I should say, are scarier in this. I like the weird. Rob Bottin. That's right. That's right. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I knew that. I feel like I knew that, but I like that The Howling is darker in the sense that there's like a serial killer involved in the beginning, and then there's like this weird hippie sex cult that the journalist goes to.
It's a lot more dark.
It is a lot more dark, and I like that movie.
And it's a way more like vicious looking animal.
I think it's a way scarier werewolf. The first scene where I forget the actress's name. When she's in that office, and
Dee Wallace.
Dee Wallace, and she was in Cujo, right? And she's in a bunch of stuff. When she's rummaging through those files in that office, and all of a sudden she turns around, and that werewolf is there, like that scared the absolute ever living shit out of me when I was.
The ending is incredible.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so.
So that's the one thing that I say. Like I think American Werewolf in London is way better than The Howling.
Okay.
Is a total movie.
I understand.
But the ending of The Howling is so fucking rad, dude. Like the news broadcast and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is really fucking metal.
Yeah. It's fucked.
See, I can't even give I haven't seen The Howling.
You haven't seen The Howling?
Dude, it's hard to eat. It's not on any.
Actually, it's on Amazon.
Is it really?
I just scrolled through.
You know what? You're right.
It's on Shudder.
It recently came on Shudder.
It came on Shudder.
It came on Shudder maybe 4 months ago.
Okay,
yeah, you gotta watch it.
That was the first time I had seen it.
I was like, The Howling. I'm like, what is this? Like a generic American Werewolf? And
dude, no, it's hard to find for a long time.
Yeah,
let's check that out.
There's a handful of movies that you just fucking can't get anywhere. It sucks.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to buy a movie.
I don't want to spend $3.99.
No. Yeah, I'd rather spend that on some other dumb shit.
Yeah. So I know that this was a movie that on the poster, if you see it, you can tell it's a movie about werewolves. And Joe Dante was actually pissed off about that because he didn't want people to know going in that it was a movie about werewolves.
It was supposed to be like Fingers, right?
Yeah, even though it's called The Howling.
The Howling. You can put two and two together. But yeah, I feel like it blends a lot of different story elements and turns it into a very scary werewolf story with scary werewolves. And I think that, werewolves over the years, like vampires, have kind of, excuse my pun, had less teeth, not as scary looking. They've kind of turned them into cuddly creatures that...
like Twilight?
Yeah, Twilight. But, I mean, I think, and forgive me if any of these movies are on your lists here, I have a feeling probably not, but, I even love, I love all 80s werewolf movies, so I love American Werewolf. I love The Howling. I love fucking Silver Bullet. I love Wolfen with Albert Finney. Good movies. I even what's the Jack Nicholson werewolf movie? I'm pretty sure that's 90s, but what's it called? Fuck.
Wolf.
Yeah. It's just called Wolf. That's right, yeah.
Isn't Teen Wolf?
Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox. That's 80s, right? So I just think,
I love Fright Night. Too,
Fright Night's
vampire
awesome.
Movies.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Fright Night's solid. That's in the 80s,
very,
too.
very good.
That's on someone's list.
That could actually float around. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So, hey. All right, so that means that I am going to keep rolling here, and I'm going to take one that might be on one of your lists, because I think I have a couple. No, it's not Fright Night. I'm going to go, Andrew, you know this. I'm not looking at your list. Believe me, I'm not looking at your list.
Because I know you're going to pick these two movies that I have next.
I have a deep-rooted fear of clowns. I fucking hate them. I've always hated clowns.
You're like Kramer.
Well, who likes clowns? I want to hear from you. They suck. Nobody likes clowns. This was a movie that I saw when I was in my early teenage years, and it didn't completely horrify me, but I also really liked it a lot because I just think it's the epitome of 80s B movie, cheesy, stupid, fun. And again, if you don't like this, if you watch this movie and you don't like it, you don't like horror movies, you're not fun. I don't want to talk to you. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, you guys.
Awesome.
I mean, it's an awesome movie. I've seen it a bunch of times over my life, starting young, and I watch it, I feel like, every couple of years. We saw it at a drive-in a couple of years ago. Fun. It was a fantastic experience to see that. I feel like it's a movie that is perfectly suited to see at a drive-thru.
It should
or
only
drive-in,
be seen
drive-through,
yeah.
drive-in.
That was COVID.
Yeah.
It's almost one of those things that's kind of had a resurgence in recent years because they turned it into a haunted house at Universal Studios a couple of years ago.
Dude, horror is coming the fuck back, dude.
As it should.
It never was really not there, but it is like...
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I feel like everybody likes horror.
Sick.
I feel like everybody likes horror, but doesn't want to admit that they like horror. That's what I think.
I feel like that time
dude, I think right now we're like,
it's fashionable.
These In Search of Darkness movies came out, and it's just like everything's through the fucking roof.
Yeah, I also think too, like, you know, like you can buy Funko Pops of the Killer Clowns now. It's crazy. Like, I bet you the Kyoto brothers who made those movies would have thought that would have happened. Also, this movie's soundtrack, phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
And now they're finally talking about making a sequel to this movie that they've wanted to make for like over 30 years.
Yeah,
and it might happen
with all the original producers and shit too.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hate clowns, but I love this movie. I love movies about scary clowns because I hate them so much. But yeah, I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So that's my next pick. Yeah. So Killer Clowns from Outer Space is off the board. And back to you, Mr. Audette.
All right, I'm going to go with 1980. It's going to be Ruggero Deodato's Cannibal Holocaust.
Ooh. Okay.
So... Okay. Growing up as a teenager watching horror movies, I was seeking out the most extreme fucking things I could find to watch. And Newbury Comics at the Kingston Mall had a great selection of movies back in the day. And so me and my buddy are standing there and we're looking for horror movies and we just see Cannibal Holocaust. And as when you're 15 years old, you're like, wow, those are two extreme fucking words. So we were like, all right, let's see what this is about. And we pull it out. And it's got like this like 17 plus like graphic content warning, like the banned version, unhinged, and we're like, all right, cool, let's buy this. We take it home, we watch the movie, and after it ended, he was like, all right, dude, like I think I'm gonna go home. And like, it was kind of it. Yep. And like I hadn't watched it again, and that was when I was 15 years old. I watched it in 2020, in November. Because I remember it was right after Thanksgiving, right before December started. And I watched it again. I was working overnights, and I got out of work, and like this is like I would work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I'd get out Friday morning at 5 a.m. I'd come home. And so I had a few beers, and I watched Cannibal Holocaust front to back, and I was blown away by how incredibly well done the movie was made. And the soundtrack. The only thing that sucks about this movie is there's like real animal violence in it.
Yeah, they actually like
and it's like
kill animals.
It's like a turtle and like a monkey and like a couple other like kind of like small random animals. It's like an armadillo and like I think a tarantula.
See, like
a snake and like so that sucks. Which is like another reason it's like you don't it's you know what I mean, it's not my go-to movie every October. Like I said, I've owned the movie for fucking almost 13 years and I've watched it twice. So yeah. But other than that, the way the story's portrayed, if you want to watch a gritty fucking extreme horror movie, because I know people do, and the reason people watch movies like this is because they're like, I want to see the fucking top tier of like what's the most fucked up thing I can watch, and this is definitely one of them. So that's why it's on my top, because it fucking nails it. And the soundtrack is gorgeous. And it's, aside from the fucked up shit, dude, it's an incredible movie. So, if you haven't watched it, you gotta watch it. If you're
looking for a
big horror guy.
What do you have it on?
I own it.
You own it on DVD.
I think it's on Shudder.
It is on Shudder. It on Shudder? It's only watchable through, like, Bill Bob Briggs. Like, his thing. Which is fine. I think he cracks me up. Honestly, I love watching The Last
Joe
Drive.
Bob? Yeah. So, I don't care for this movie. I know I'm going to sound like a pussy here. Make fun of me if you want, listeners, co-hosts. Yeah, the animal violence turns me off.
It is. It's fucked up.
It's fucked up.
It's understandable.
It's gross. It's abhorrent. And I just... Like, I get it. I understand why people really like it. This type of filmmaking rubbed off on people like Eli Roth. I would say, you know, Rob Zombie, like Alex Aja, who has directed a lot of stuff recently. I just like the really, really gory stuff. Has never really done it for me. I don't know.
It's too real.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It's
they had the actors had to get summoned
disturbing.
to court.
That's right, because I was going to say, so there was actually, when the movie was released, there was discussion that it might actually be a real snuff film.
There was speculation that the actors in the movie were dead.
Right.
And they had to get they signed a contract to go kind of like in hiding for a year.
Yeah.
To leave that kind of thing, and they didn't have any like names in the movie. Like there was no credits.
Yeah,
it just kind of is what it is.
And see, that's genius. That's
it is. It's very
Blair Witch before Blair
well done
Witch.
marketing.
Great marketing.
And they had to get summoned to court because they were like, "Well,
prove
these people
to me these people
got
are
eaten
alive
by cannibals because you wanted to make a movie. Like that's not fucking okay."
Yeah.
So it's extremely violent, but I know some of you sick fucks are gonna watch it.
That's true.
And you should totally watch it because it's and if you're a big horror fan, you got to watch everything. You can't not watch Cannibal Holocaust.
It's essential viewing if you're a hardcore horror fan. I've seen it. It's just not my particular taste.
Harsh.
Have you seen The Green Inferno?
Yes.
Okay. What did you think of that?
It was okay.
Okay. Yeah. So have you seen The Green Inferno?
Yeah.
It's Eli Roth.
It's just
written
gross.
off
Stupid.
Cannibal Holocaust.
It's a stupid story. It's just gross.
Yeah.
It
is
terrible.
Nasty.
Yeah.
It's that movie's disgusting too.
It's disgusting, and that's the only reason people watch that movie.
Right.
Because the acting is, like you said, terrible. The story's stupid and annoying.
Yeah. It's
just everything about it's bad, but it's gory and gross. So you're gonna watch it.
Yeah.
That's my brutal.
Yeah, I'm gonna
1980s.
I would check that out. I feel bad for the animals, but I'd still watch it.
It is shitty, but I mean,
yeah. Hey, it is what it is.
But either way, the animals are dead, so
yeah,
it's true. You can still, I guess you can if you can separate yourself.
And also, those animals would be dead now by
because
12 times over.
That is. Also,
I mean, one of them's a turtle, dude. That thing might
actually
still
the turtle
alive.
might still be alive.
Also true. Yeah, the turtle very much might still be alive. All right, so Cannibal Holocaust.
I'm sorry to all the animal friends. I love animals. Don't get me wrong. I've never hurt an animal, but this movie has shitty shit that happens to animals in it. So
okay. So I'm going to go way off the board here for my next
my
one.
turn?
Isn't it? Wait, were we going back this way?
turn.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It is back to you.
It's me for two.
It is you for two.
So I'm gonna go.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry, because I killed a
You're good.
Sorry. Go ahead.
1986 Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
that was my next one, dude.
Sorry. Ever seen that, Mike? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that movie's fucked.
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker, yeah, he's awesome in that movie. Yep. Basically, this guy that's released from prison, and I think he goes and lives with his mom or whatever. But
he lives with his old
inmate and his sister.
Yeah,
and he basically just like goes around killing people, and then they like videotape it with that guy, and they like record it, and it's just like really unnerving and unsettling. It's like it's exactly what it says it is. It's a portrait of a serial killer. It's based off a real serial killer.
It has very much Clockwork Orange vibes.
Yeah. Also, have you ever seen Bad Lieutenant?
Yes.
Oh, with Nicolas Cage?
No,
or the original one. Oh, I've seen the one with Nick Cage.
Harvey Keitel. I think it's in the original.
Yeah,
I've never seen that one.
It's similar to that, and it's very gritty. It's very real. It's very unnerving. It's very unsettling. It makes you feel very uncomfortable, and I think that is pretty much hits every area of what a horror movie is. It's just one of those movies you watch it and you feel awful after you watch it.
All things that you love.
It is definitely one that you're like, especially with like what 80s horror movies kind of were. When that came out, it was like, I mean, I'd say it like I was fucking alive when it happened, but like looking at like how horror movies were, and then when that came out, how they went after. Like it definitely was not a wide release.
No, it couldn't have been.
Like very underground, very snuffy.
Yep,
it's
like very snuffy.
It's like Maniac, but in the 80s.
It's like honestly, I'd if you took Last House on the Left and Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, they can hold hands and they can go to the movies together. Yeah, because they're very much they're very much the same, like just gritty fucking mean in your face fucking movie.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's no redeeming value.
No, it's just like this is violent. Fuck you. Yeah,
What do you think's a more off-putting movie, The Last House on the Left or Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer?
Last House on the Left.
Yeah, the rape.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, there's a lot of fucked up shit that happens in this movie too, but it's.
Last House on the Left is just like every fucking parent's worst nightmare.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. Not much though.
Okay,
it's just insane that these are like movies that were made and they.
Yeah,
their ultimate goal was to be like, violence is bad.
Yeah.
And the only way to show you how bad violence is by shoving it down your fucking throat.
Yeah, exactly.
And it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Solid movie.
Okay. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Off the board.
Off the board. And I got one more.
One more for Andrew.
So I'm going to go with 1987, The Stepfather.
Oh, good pick.
Love this movie.
Good pick. Terry O'Quinn. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Such a great movie.
John Locke.
The opening scene of this movie is so good. Like, basically just a family guy that just essentially just decides he wants to do something different, so he just murders his whole family, changes his identity. finds some widow, cozies up to her, falls in love, and then basically just does the same thing over and over again. I think there's like 3 or 4 of these movies.
Can I make a confession to you?
You've never seen it.
I've never seen Stepfather.
Did you see the remake?
I've never seen any Stepfather.
If you're going to watch The Stepfather, just watch The Stepfather, the original.
I will be honest. I haven't seen it. I know you admitted that you hadn't seen
it's
The
just
Howling.
One of those,
I've never seen
it's just
this movie.
one of, well, yeah, I mean, this is a little bit more reasonable to not see. But it's just one of those movies like I'll watch it like...
It's batshit crazy.
It's just crazy. Yeah. And Terry O'Quinn's amazing in that role. Like, he's so good. Like, I forget the guy...
I know of the movie. I know he is in it, but I don't know much about it beyond what you told me about it.
Really good. It's like takes place in Seattle, and it's just amazing that like in the 80s you could just fucking kill your whole family, get a different driver's license, go get another job, and then just move on with your life, and then do the same thing over again, and nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Like, wild. Yep. You could do that back then.
Well, in that movie, yeah.
In that movie, but you also could probably do that. Like in
you
the
might
70s.
Have been, yeah.
Like, how many people went unnoticed as serial killers back in those times? Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
There was probably a lot more.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that movie you could do that. But like, if you had made that movie now and it was taking place and that was the same premise, you would be like, "This is so unrealistic." Like they would have definitely figured out that you know.
Yeah, but hey, because movie, you suspend disbelief for a little bit. But okay.
Nothing great about it. Just one of those movies I like.
Hey, listen, you don't have to defend your selection. We're all here to talk about what movies we like. We all have different tastes. So there's no need to say it's not a great movie. It's a great movie in your mind.
It is, and I think we should do it on Father's Day this year. We should do The Stepfather.
It's not a lie, if you believe it. Quoting George Costanza.
I do know.
Quoting George Costanza. I'm surprised you didn't hop on that Seinfeld reference there, my friend.
Oh, I knew.
Okay, so The Stepfather, and we're back to you, Mr. Audette.
All right, so I have my number 4.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Stuart Gordon, 1985 Reanimator.
Ah, nice. Nice pick.
So this is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And that's recent. I'd say within the last 3 years, I've really, really come home to this one.
Okay.
I watch it frequently. It's definitely like in every 4 months. I put it on. Sarah gets pissed. She's like, I fucking hate this movie. But now she's used to it, but she can't stand how gory it is. It is extremely gory.
Yeah.
This is in my opinion, top tier 80s Maniac sci-fi gore movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think it takes so much fun. There's so much fucking insane shit that happens in it. I'm definitely getting a tattoo on my left leg.
That'd be sick.
That has to do with Reanimator. I just don't know what yet. It's really hard. There's a lot of really fucked up images in it.
Yeah.
But I love this movie so much. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't seen it, it's about a guy, nerdy fucking scientist who develops a serum that brings dead beings back to life. They're not the same. So it's a tale as old as time.
Yep.
That's a Lovecraft, right? Or
it is
H.P.
Lovecraft.
So I was going to say,
Beyond. Have you seen that?
One of
same guy.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, Stuart Gordon, same actors too.
Same actors. Is it like a Is that so? Which one came? Did they?
So From Beyond, I think was 86 or 87.
Okay.
Right after, but it's still Barbara Frampton and I forget the fucking Herbert West's.
Oh God, what's his name? Don Coscarelli was the director. What's the guy? No,
that's Phantasm.
not Phantasm. Stuart Gordon was the director.
Yeah.
What's the guy's fucking name? He's in Jeffrey something.
I think could be Jeff. Hold on.
Starts with a
we have the
Starts with
Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah,
that's right. Yes, I knew it was a Jeffrey. It was a Jeffrey.
Definitely a Jeffrey.
Your cousin
So
Jeffrey, Jerry.
Him and Barbara Frampton flip-flopped kind of their roles between Reanimator and From Beyond, because in Reanimator, he's the mad scientist, she's the damsel in distress, and then in From Beyond, he's kind of like the suffering patient, and she's the one that gets sucked into this that movie's fucking out of control too, by the way.
Yeah.
From Beyond is sick.
Well, he's using the pineal gland to go into another dimension.
Yeah, dude.
Parallel universe.
And Barbara Frampton was a fucking babe back in the 80s. She loved getting naked,
yeah,
so that was
was.
cool. But fucking Reanimator, man.
It's a great movie.
Easily one of the best horror movies ever made.
And I would say it's a great movie. H.P. Lovecraft is hard to adapt into movies. A lot of his stories, I feel like he is starting to have a little bit of a resurgence now, but you really, I mean, aside from those
like
two
Lovecraft
movies,
Country got like squashed immediately.
Yeah, right. And then I mean, obviously, and they did radical things to change the lore behind it. Yeah. I mean, but like, I think probably the most famous one recently was like Color Out of Space with Nick Cage. Did you guys see that?
I didn't like that movie.
Yeah,
and
I didn't
also
really like it either. That's
Underwater.
a Lovecraft story. So Underwater has a very Lovecraftian twist at the end. Not maybe, it
Cthulhu.
is. Cthulhu at the end of it. Did you see Underwater?
No.
Kristen Stewart? Well, we just spoiled the ending for you, but it's fucking great.
It's fine.
Beautiful, beautiful little 90-minute balls to the wall underwater creature feature monster movie.
It kind of went in one ear and one right out the other. So
honestly,
I'll watch
it's like
I just don't like Kristen Stewart. I can't handle her.
She's actually not bad.
Her
in
mouth
this role.
breathing.
She's actually pretty good. I actually thought she was kind of hot in this movie.
She's like picture Kristen Stewart as Ripley from Alien, and that's this movie essentially. It's Kristen Stewart as Ripley in Alien Underwater.
Yeah. Okay.
She
actually does a pretty good job with it. She's not annoying throughout the movie. Annoying.
And like literally there is zero fat on this movie. It kicks into high gear in the first like 90 seconds of the movie, and it doesn't stop until it's over an hour and 20 minutes later.
That's pretty cool.
So it's a movie with a solid story.
That was like the last movie we saw before COVID, and then it was like years.
Right? And that was the only movie I've ever seen at the Wareham movie theater, which is now closed.
Wareham movie theater, I saw Jackass 3D.
Did you really? Mm-hmm. We saw that.
I like that movie theater. I think it's pretty good.
In
It
Kingston.
doesn't exist anymore, but it was pretty good.
But yeah, I heard the Wareham movie theater closed.
Yeah.
I think it did, but I don't know.
So yeah, that's my number 4 pick is Reanimator.
Solid.
Awesome.
I
Reanimator.
love that movie, dude. I swear to God, I love it so much.
Pick.
It's the best.
It's so weird.
So I'm torn between 3 movies here. So I'm going to go with the one that I know that neither one of you are going to pick, and it's a total me movie. So I'm going to talk about it.
Well, these are your last picks.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. So I have 2. So I have to really make some decisions here. But the one I know I'm definitely going to pick is a movie from 1987 that, while not one of the more horrifying movies of the decade, not even one of the more gory movies of the decade, it is a fun movie that is kind of like if you take Goonies and you mix them with the Universal classic monsters. And it is written by, what's the guy's name? Shane Black, who was in Predator. He wrote Iron Man 3. He wrote The Nice Guys. He wrote and directed the new Predator movie that came out a couple of years ago, and that's The Monster Squad. Okay. And I fucking love this movie. It's great. Have you guys seen The Monster Squad?
It's like the kids hanging out.
It's like that nice, like
yes.
kind of like, it's like super PG-13 vibes.
Yes. Yeah. So it's essentially, basically, it's a group of like, teenage kids that love horror, and they hang out in a treehouse, and it, for some, I forget the exact reason, but like versions of Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and the Mummy all come to their small little Midwest town and start wreaking havoc, and they basically are the only ones that believe that these creatures are here, and they have to kind of save the day. So it's a goofy concept, but it's kind of like if you take the Goonies and mix it with Gremlins and mix it with the Universal classic monsters and turn it into a movie. The Spookies?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's cheesy, but it's like, it's Monster Squad if it was scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like I would really dig that a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Monster Squad, I just think it's a fun it's a fun movie. And if you're a fan of like, the OG monsters like Frankenstein, Dracula, etc., it's a cool way that they interpret them. They actually kind of make them a little scary. Like I think that's probably the best design they've ever had for Gilman, the Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's just a cool movie, and it's like it's fun. It's a fun movie to watch around Halloween. So dude, I love that movie.
Of all the like original monster movies, besides like Lon Chaney Jr., is the Wolfman. Like the Creature from the Black Lagoon is fucking incredible. Even being like from that time period.
For what
it's just a guy in a suit swimming underwater. The fact they were able to film underwater when that movie came out isn't it insane? It's wild. It's wild. Yeah, so I'm going to go wild there, and I'm going to say Monster Squad from the year of our Lord. 1987 is my 4th pick of 5 here, and I am really torn here because I have 2 movies that we've already talked about.
Do you still have your 5th pick?
I have my 5th pick. No one
do you want to do any honorable mentions before you... Because I want to do some honorable mentions.
Sure. Why don't you start? I have a couple, but you can go first.
Well, what if he picks? What if he?
Actually, yeah. So my honorable mention. Oh, okay. Now I see what you're saying. So I guess for honorable mentions, I had. I'm not gonna. I mean, these are kind of movies though that I feel like they're.
But what if we pick those too? Should we wait to do the honorable mentions to the very end?
Fright Night was one that you brought up.
Yeah.
That I thought. Okay. I thought that movie. I love that movie. I feel like this one I almost am going to pick, but I'm not going to in case one of you two are. They Live is one of my favorite Carpenter movies. I love that movie. I also love Prince of Darkness. I mean, we talked about Cronenberg, but Scanners I really like a lot. That movie's great. And, oh, goodness. I am going to say also a shout-out to the most basically the movie that dared to take the biggest chance out of any sequel ever made, and that's Halloween 3: Season of the Witch.
Yes.
So I have to give
that
movie an absolute shout out.
We talked about that movie.
We did talk about it on the podcast, so I can't pick it.
My favorite Halloween.
That would have been on my shout outs as well.
Yeah. So I feel like I have to. I just love this movie so much. It's popular. We've talked about it on the podcast before, but I have to pick Creepshow. I just love Creepshow so fucking much.
That was my pick.
I absolutely love anthology horror so much. I love old school horror comics. I love the different stories. I love the silly cheesiness of it. I love the monster horror. Like everything about this movie. Stephen King, George Romero, everything about it. I just love. I love that it's turned into a TV show.
The TV
on
show
Shudder,
rocks,
which is
too.
great.
Yeah.
I love that now they're re-releasing editions of comics like this that I've bought. Like it's just. I feel like the fact that it is now as a TV show, there's more of an appreciation for the original movies. The first one's obviously a classic. The second one might have the best segment out of all the movies.
The Raft. Yeah, easily the best segment.
And then Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, was supposed to be Creepshow 3. One good segment, I think. But it's just an awesome movie. And
the Crate Monster.
The Crate Monster, I think, is one of my favorites. Fluffy is one of my favorites.
I love the one with Leslie Nielsen.
That one's great. Creeping up on you.
And Ted Danson. Yeah. So
Ted
good.
Danson. We didn't get the Ted Danson plane, Andrew.
No, we didn't.
Nope. So, yeah, I just love Creepshow so much.
Is that your last pick, or is that your...
That's my last pick.
Actual
that's
pick.
my 5.
You're going... Okay, so Creepshow
that's my last
is your
pick.
Big pick.
Is Creepshow.
Okay.
Sorry, if I didn't make that clear, I did have a good number of honorable mentions, but Creepshow is my actual
I'm going
pick.
so far off the board, it's not even the right decade, so...
All right, I have a couple honorable mentions for sure.
Yes, let's hear them. What do we got?
So I'm going to pick Night of the Demons, 1988 by Kevin Tenney. It's the one when all the kids...
Movie theater?
Huh?
Is that the one in the movie theater?
No.
What's that one?
Demons.
Oh, just Demons. That's just Demons. Okay.
Yeah, that's Lamberto Bava.
Okay.
Great movie. That's actually on my list. But Night of the Demons, it's a birthday party at a house. They get possessed by demons. It goes fucking nuts.
Okay.
Wicked fun. Wicked fucking chaotic. When I was a little kid, the movie, the VHS cover scared the fucking shit out of me. William Lustig, 1980, Maniac. Crazy
Awesome
fucking movie, dude.
I didn't realize that Maniac was 1980. I thought it was 70s.
Tom Savini's head getting blown up in the car with the shotgun blast. Can't beat it. Unbelievable fucking special effects.
Yeah. That's a nasty shot even to this day too. Like it still holds up. That's a gross head explosion.
Listen to this name. Damiano Damiani, 1982, Amityville 2, The Possession. Ooh. I think that this movie's better than the first one.
Okay.
And it is fucking insane.
Never seen it.
It's so fucking scary, dude.
Never seen it.
Yeah, it's wicked scary.
Okay.
It's wicked fucking creepy, really disturbing story. It plays like a prequel to the first one. And I remember growing up being like in middle school and always keeping AMC Fear Fest on my TV when I was going to bed. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and this would be on. And I'd be like, oh man, this is heavy.
I'm awake for the rest of the night now, yeah.
And then for one more deep cut, I'm going to do The City of the Living Dead, 1980 by Lucio Fulci.
Fulci, okay.
Italian horror, fantastic gore. There's no plot. So,
yeah.
I mean, I can't really get into it. His movies kind of were just like excuses to just make scenes with gore.
Yeah. Fulci did Zombie too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But, all right, so my number one pick for the 1980s, I'm going to have to go with Pet Sematary, 1989, Mary Lambert.
Wow.
Solid
very
pick, very
nice.
solid.
I was not expecting that.
This was, growing up, the scariest movie I had seen. Zelda. God damn. The scenes with Zelda are fucking terrifying. The book is so fucking horrifying. And so upsetting, dude.
It's a tough read.
It's really fucking hard to read about him digging up a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's fucking just miserable. But the movie itself is so creepy, and every time I watch it, it's scary and scary and scarier.
Yeah. Because
the thought of like burying someone that you know and love and hopes that they come back, it's just so fucking insane. It's batshit fucking crazy.
Fucked. Yeah.
And then the fact that they come back evil, it's just, that movie is so fucking out of control. That's got to be one of the scariest fucking movies I've ever seen in my life.
I love it. I was not expecting that at all.
I wasn't either, but that's a good pick.
Very good.
A lot of Stephen King picks.
Yeah. I
mean,
we
had
a lot of 70s movies.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not? Yeah.
Nobody's going to pick Maximum Overdrive or Firestarter or
Cujo.
Or...
Thought about it. No.
Yeah.
I picked one. You picked one, and then...
I picked
You picked one in the 70s. Well, you picked Salem's
Carrying Creep Show, Salem's Lot.
Yeah, so at least 5? 4?
Dead Zone.
Dead Zone, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then...
Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
So 4 at least, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Awesome.
Pretty good.
Good representation for Mr. King. Excellent. Okay.
It's me.
We on to you?
Ready?
Yeah, we're on to you. Did you have any honorable mentions here?
Well, Predator, obviously.
I feel like that one was
and then
on my list too.
the last horror film with Joe Spinell. You ever seen that?
No.
So Joe Spinell from Maniac is basically stalking his like celebrity crush in, I think she's in France. He traveled all the way from like America basically, and he's filming her the whole time, like just basically stalking her and filming her. And it's like the last horror film, and it's like him just trying to confess his love to her, and then he ends up like losing his shit.
Keeping Tom.
Yeah, it's one of those fucked up, like anything Joe Spinell's in is really good.
Yeah, they both, him and William Lustig, just fucking destroyed their careers with that movie.
Yeah.
Did they really? Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was so just like the critics were like, this is fucking smut.
Who are these weirdos?
Yeah, it was.
I mean, Maniac is such an just an over the top.
That movie's ridiculous.
He's violent,
putting the like movie. Hair on,
misogynistic.
It's oh my god, yeah, they're just like it's wild stuff.
All right.
So
I was technically going to say I have 2 honorable mentions that I
you're not going to pick it. You can pick them. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
I 100% am sure that you're not going to pick this movie. I don't even know this movie qualifies.
Is it Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker?
No. There's an honorable mention.
Yeah, there you go.
Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Say
That's
that
all
5
I'm
times
say.
fast.
1981.
Two movies from the 80s about gelatinous things that take over the world. The Blob remake, which is fucking fantastic, and The Stuff.
I have The Stuff on my list.
Stuff's an awesome movie.
Stuff's a good movie.
So weird.
You know what's wicked funny? I've said this on this podcast before, is that because I think it was like a preamble to what we were talking about, and I had mentioned I watched The Stuff. The first 90 seconds of that movie, like the dude sees this stuff coming out of the ground. He's like, "What is this?" And he just immediately doesn't look at it, smell it, anything. Like with one swift motion, scoops it up and fucking puts it in his mouth, dude.
This is some good stuff.
Yep.
Look, that's their first inclination.
That tastes great.
Is I'm just going to eat this shit.
This goop.
So you said, what the hell? I'm just going to eat some trash.
The ground, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Wild. That movie's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh god. I'm glad we talked about
What's that other movie? Chud.
Chud is fantastic.
Yeah, Chud's a good movie too. That movie
list.
gets shouted out in the beginning of fucking what's it? Us. Yeah.
It's got two fucking homies from Home Alone in it. The dad and mom.
I haven't seen Chud
really?
in years. Yeah. I couldn't even tell. That's insane.
I watched it like a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
It's a sick movie, dude. It's great. Same with Humanoids
Cannibalistic
from the Deep.
Humanoid Underground Dwellers.
Humanoids from the Deep is another crazy one.
Okay. Humanoids from the Deep, baby. Was that going to be your pick?
Humanoids
from the Deep?
So,
all right, what is it? Don't leave us in suspense any longer, Andrew. Let's go.
Technically, this movie was not released in the 80s. It was released in 2021.
Oh, God, here we go. I knew.
But it was filmed, directed, and meant to be released in 1983.
Oh, is this amusement park?
It's Grizzly 2, The Revenge. And the only reason this is on my list is not because it's a good movie. It is probably the worst movie I've ever watched.
Is this your honorable mention?
No, this is my pick.
Okay.
Because you have to watch this movie strictly for the fact that this movie is so bad. So it has Charlie Sheen, George Clooney, and Laura Dern in the first 10 minutes of this movie. That's the only part that they're in this movie. These 3 phenomenal actors who are unknown.
They probably don't even know that they're in it.
And they probably don't even this movie. And then it's a grizzly bear getting its revenge on poachers after its cub gets shot in the most ridiculous scene. And like, I don't even know what the special effects were for this movie, but it is so cheesy. And then basically, the grizzly bear just goes on a killing spree, ends up at some concert in Hungary. Like, I think it's filmed in Hungary. It's in this, like, just causing chaos. And it's basically just cuts from, like, scenes where the bear is chasing people to 10 minutes.
Dead people?
No. 10 minutes of a concert in some language that you don't even, in like a German concert of music.
He's not exaggerating.
And then it comes back,
right.
and then it goes back to them chasing, and then there's a concert again. I'm like, what am I watching?
That's probably the most. That's called Euro trash.
Yeah, it's the most ridiculous movie I've ever watched.
That's a real subgenre of horror movies. Is
that's
Euro
an actual.
If you were going to get into this, I don't mean to step on your toes here, but the fact that he said it was made in the 80s, but released recently on Shudder, they actually splice into the concert footage from Hungary. The
New
old
footage.
concert that they filmed when they made the movie, intercut with like
a crowd,
literally a crowd
from
in
now.
a concert from like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I'm like, who took the time? Like,
it's so jarring. It's outrageous. It honestly is the most outrageous thing I've ever seen. Like, what is this?
Like the quality instantly just is incredible.
You're
Yes.
like,
3 seconds.
what
It's
show
the
are you at
weirdest
now?
fucking thing.
Where am I? What is going on? And like, one of the guys, he's like a, he's like,
Can't believe you picked this movie.
I don't know if he's like a French, like he's
it.
like a tracker, and he's French, but he just decided at some point that he was going to become a Native American and just like talk like a Native American and act like one, even though he's not. It's just, and he's actually like a famous actor, John Rhys Davis, or
John Rhys Davis?
John Rhys Davies, is that the guy?
John Rhys Davies?
He's been in, you know him if you've seen him,
yeah.
and it's just like, the whole movie is just, it's just one giant clusterfuck, and I literally put it on to fall asleep, like before I went to bed. I was like, I'm just gonna throw this stupid movie on. Couldn't fall asleep because I would lay my head down and I would just hear like concerts playing, and then I'd be like, what is going on? Then I'd like start watching it, and I'm like, I can't stop watching this horrible movie because it was so bad that you have to watch it. So that's why that movie's on this list.
So John Rhys Davies is best known for portraying Gimli in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and Sala in the Indiana Jones films.
Yeah, that's what I remember from the Indiana Jones movies.
Yep.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it and you have an hour and a half to just literally burn, then watch this movie.
When you put this on for me, it was one of the funniest things I've seen like recently. Yeah.
Because I feel like when
Take
I
an
was
edible
telling
and
you,
watch that
I feel like when
movie.
I was telling you about this movie, you didn't
Then
believe
report back.
that I was being like my timestamps were wrong. Like, no, it's literally like 3 minutes of a
What is it called?
Grizzly 2: The Revenge.
Oh, it's a sequel.
It's a sequel. I've never seen the first one. I've just seen this one. I had no intention of even watching
You've
this
never
movie.
seen the movie that led to The Revenge.
Yeah. I feel like I should watch The Grizzly.
Right?
That one.
Oh my god.
The first scene when the cub gets shot, it's like, it's like the cheesiest thing ever. I'm like, what is going on?
Some poor bear just getting
Some muppet
getting
just
crushed
falls
on
off
screen.
there.
Pretty much.
Oh boy.
So Grizzly 2 Revenge is Mr. Irrelevant from this version of the draft. Huh?
100% irrelevant.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let's do what we did before. We're just going to run around the circle here and go through the movies that we picked. So I'll start here. I have on my list of 5, I have The Fly from 1986. I have The Howling from 1981. Killer Clowns from Outer Space from 1988. Creepshow from 1982, and Monster Squad from 1987. What about you, Mr. Audette?
Okay, I have An American Werewolf in London from 1981. I also have The Evil Dead from 1981. I have Cannibal Holocaust from 1980. I have Reanimator from 1985, and I have Pet Sematary from 1989.
You got the whole decade covered.
Pretty much, dude.
Look at that.
A lot of early 80s, though.
Yeah, a lot of early 80s, which is good.
Good list, though. Andrew,
I like it.
what is yours?
I have Hellraiser from 1987. Then I have The Dead Zone, which I think 83. Is that what I said?
I think so.
83. Then Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, which was 86. The Stepfather, which was also 1987. And then Grizzly 2, The Revenge, which is either 1983 or 2020.
Depending on how you want to
look at it.
Yes, there you go. Well, good talk tonight, boys. Good lists. We talked about a lot of fucking movies, huh?
Yeah.
We talked about
what
30.
What do we think about this little exercise on this first?
I loved it.
I love it. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, the next one will be fun.
Maybe for the next episode we'll do 3 each, since we're going to have Kat too, just for in terms of brevity. But yeah, I think this was awesome. I like talking. We talked about a lot of different movies, a lot of different topics. This was fun. This is good shit. So I'm excited to do this again next week.
Oh, it's going to be a blast.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts before we declare the winner of this draft and move on with our lives?
I got nothing.
All right.
I've said all I can say. Excellent.
Well, Matt, thank you for coming on, my friend.
Absolutely.
It has been a pleasure as always, and we look forward to having you back again next week, where we talk about 90s and 2000s horror.
Yeah, I'll have to do a little more homework on my 90s stuff.
Yeah, I see. Kat's gonna be so psyched for that one.
There's some deep cuts in there.
2000s, I have to think about a lot.
2000s, I definitely.
I've got 2 I already
ready
like
to rip.
That I know.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna try to. What I'm gonna try to do is avoid remakes as much as I can.
So I guess before we sign off here, like, what would you consider like to be? Because I know we're not talking about as many classic films from the 90s. Like, what would you consider to be untouchable 90s films?
Silence of the Lambs, probably.
Like
Blair Witch Project.
What do you mean, like movies that would be omitted?
Like, omitted, like we did with the 70s and the 80s.
Oh, yeah, like Scream, Blair Witch Project, probably like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Sure.
Would you do 7? No.
Which I fucking hate that movie.
Yeah, I just like Jennifer Love Hewitt.
7. 7 honestly might be my favorite movie of the 90s.
That's a great movie, but
I think 7's fair game.
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs. I mean, I would call fair game. It's really just like.
I mean, I guess like so.
There's
you can't
such
say
a limited amount.
Scream,
no, I
what's
won't.
Kat
I'm gonna
gonna
let
do?
Kat fucking have her day with Scream.
She
I
has
think
to talk
we can get
about
away
Scream.
with not doing an omit for the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really.
There's nothing that really like jumps to mind.
I love like Jacob's Ladder.
So I mean, you got like
okay.
So let's just run through some like quick Google search brings up Event Horizon is actually an awesome movie. So like popular horror movies,
Pitch Black,
The Sixth Sense. I mean, that was a popular movie.
We're gonna have to do some deep dives, boys.
Yeah, honestly, not a great decade.
We're actually gonna have to do some homework.
Yeah,
this is I got my 2. I already got 2 down.
I already have 2 as well, and I have some deep cuts.
So Army of Darkness was the 90s, actually.
Yep.
So that's 1.
One I know nobody's gonna pick. The
I do
one,
too.
Maybe.
And I know
Misery.
No one's gonna pick it because no one fucking likes it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Misery. That's another one. I mean. Oh, Tremors. See, that's actually maybe one out there.
Blowing it.
I guess I'm just. Well, hey,
we're all gonna see.
We're all gonna listen to the next podcast.
We won't remember this.
You're supposed to tease, not just name them.
Yeah, that's all right. So, hey, it's a pre-discussion. It's all right. We're just whetting everybody's appetite for next week. All right, don't bust my balls here.
Keep your pre coming, your
A lot of sequels.
A lot of sequels. All right, folks. Well, if you're interested in more of what we have to say, here's where you can find us online. You can find us first on our website, which is ahpod.com. It's ahhpod.com. We're also on YouTube and Facebook. Just search for America's Hometown Horror, and you will find us. We're on Twitter at Hometown Horror, and we're on Instagram at Hometown Horror Pod. And shit, you could even shoot us an email at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com, and you can listen to our show wherever you're listening to us right now. But we're everywhere: Spotify, iTunes, whatever, all that stuff. So yeah, that's been another episode of America's Hometown Horror, you guys. Thanks again to our buddy Matt for joining us, and we look forward to having you back again next week, my
Thank
friend.
You, fellas. It was a lot of fun.
Excellent. And say goodbye to your listeners.
Later.
Good evening.
See you guys.
Way to go. Not everybody all at once. Bye. And bye. Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. That's right, the Inebriart Podcast Network, folks. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.